Hi, my friends at the middle school. My name is Bobby Lambert. I'm the director of bands here at Wando High School. Also a relatively retired saxophone player, but I'm thankful that I had practiced enough in the olden days that I was able to pick it up today and take a look at your solo that you're working on for the region auditions. And I thought I'd make a quick video about kind of how I get started and looking at the first two lines of this solo. So I hope that you'll be able to follow along. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to make sure that I tune. You're going to see a lot of octave leaps here. And while the technique is going to be a thing that you want to look at first, the tuning is going to be the thing that's going to separate kind of the good from the great auditions. Because of those octaves in the audition, you're going to want to make sure that you have it relatively well in tune. So I've already tuned, but I would put the tuner on, to tune my B flat concert, but also to tune my D, the F concert, because that note is all over this opening, and I want to make sure that I have it, okay? So tune that first. The next thing I would do is pick a tempo that works, that I can play easily the first time. So for me, I can play this relatively close to 96 right now, but that doesn't mean I need to. I want to slow that down maybe even as much as 30 clicks, down to 66, and really take my time with it. So I'm going to try and turn on our metronome here. Okay, so I've got my metronome on 66 right now, and I'm going to try and play as many of these things as I can. Now, of course, it's like, well, what do you mean as many of these things? Number one, I want to make sure I have the right fingerings. Absolutely. And to be honest with you, there are a couple that you may not have gotten in your head, and I'll show you those when I get there. But the other part of it is I want to play exactly in time, not rushed a little bit here and slow there based on what my fingers want to do, but basically playing exactly in time. And the third thing is any of the dynamics below or the articulations above. I want to try and get all of those in that I possibly can. On this first read, most important is right fingerings and right rhythms, okay? So here we go, right the first time. 1, 2. So right there, I tried to get as many things as I could just on that first read. Doesn't matter where you are, but notice too, if I'd made a mistake, I would have wanted to just keep going. The first thing to do is just get those first two lines really in your head. Now let me go back and show you a couple of things to pay attention to. I'm going to go ahead and put the tempo back up so that we can get that right and you'll head to there. But that's step. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time, remember that last video, just going really very slowly, just getting the right notes, the right rhythms. But there are a couple of fingering things that I want to show you. Take a look at measure 4. If you'll look, you have to do what's called cross fingering, going from the B to the C. Now, to be honest with you, that's not hard on the 8th note, but in the 16th note, it can be a little uneven. And yes, you could practice it enough to get it, but there's a much simpler way to do it. The way I'm playing this is I'm playing B, C, and then the 16th notes, B, C. So I'm just keeping my B finger down, and I'm putting this side guy here. Remember, this is our B flat key. This is what's called your B trill key to C. So I can just play B, C, B, C, B, A, G. B, C, B, C, B, C, B, A, G. Now, I'll tell you, that C is really flat, so you may want to play the first one. Sorry. So I'm going to try and get it so that you can see by the whole mechanism here for that. Again. So that's just kind of a nice trick to make that a lot smoother. The other thing that I would tell you is when I get down to measure 7, remember I mentioned the stuff about the octaves? Right there is a dangerous minefield if you're not careful. Number one, playing those triplets exactly evenly is very important. People want to play them rushed. 1 and 2 and 3, or 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. You got to make sure they're absolutely even, and you can set your metronome to do that. But then that low D to high D, we want to make that as natural as possible. Now, for me, on my saxophone, my low D is really flat, and my middle D is really sharp. So I'm having to manipulate that quite a bit. I'm really bringing that pitch up quite a bit, and then when I jump up to the middle D, that in the middle of the staff, I have to really open up. So listen to see if you can hear it. And I'm still a little bit sharp on that D, but I'm on it for so little, I don't think you're going to catch me. So those are just some tips that I found. One other thing, the last one is measure 6. Make sure you articulate the first note. Take a look at measure 5 into 6. A lot of people will want to slur that first note. So listen to it one time. Okay, so making sure that you get that articulation. Now, the last thing I would tell you is just thinking about musical phrasing. You have 2 measures, 2 measures, 2 measures, 2 measures. That's kind of how it's grouped. It's like a sentence, a sentence, a sentence, a sentence. Now, what I would do is I would play the first with the crescendo, the decrescendo. The second one, I would play maybe a little bit stronger. The third phrase, measure 5 and 6, I would have that be where the first 2 lines are going. And then measure 7 and 8 are where things are kind of pulling back, getting you ready for the conspirato at 9. Boy, I hope that's helpful to you. I'll make a few more videos for you to get those other lines in there as well. We can't wait to see you. I know it seems like a long way off, but music is always here. What's great is I haven't played seriously for about 20 years, yet I was able to pick it up this morning and get relatively close to doing some great music, and I love that. I love making music by conducting, but I also love making music with my instrument. No matter whether you major in music or not, keep after this, because it'll give you a lifetime of great memories and great experiences. See everybody.